Call me Andy. In the Heart of the Sea. So In the Heart of the Sea is supposedly the true story of the tale that inspired the famous literature novel Moby-Dick. You know, the giant monstrous sperm whale in the ocean? Yeah, that. It takes place in the early 1800s. You got the crew of people on their big ship, the Essex. They're going out to get whale oil to bring back to Nantucket. The main character in this movie is more or less Chris Hemsworth as the first mate, Owen Chase. And I swear, what is it with this guy and accents? His accent in this movie is like half British, half American. It's weird. I mean, I suppose that might make sense given the context. Of course, it doesn't really matter because this guy's a really good actor. You really connect with this character. You know, he's got a family back at home and he's out there on the ocean doing what he knows and loves. I like the rest of the crew too. Benjamin Walker is really good as the captain. He has really good dialogue with Chris Hemsworth. Cillian Murphy is really good in this movie. And Tom Holland is in this movie. This is the first time I've really seen what he's made of. In fact, he's actually a pretty important character in this movie. He kind of serves as our eyes and ears, which makes him pretty relatable, especially since the dude's like my age. Now, I really like movies that take place in this era of time, you know, that Pirates of the Caribbean, Sherlock Holmes era, and that feeling of the thrill of being out at sea. I love it when a movie pulls that off. It's just man versus nature. It's like how God puts the human race to the test, and I really like seeing that. But the big thing in this movie is this giant sperm whale. This thing is huge. And I don't know what this thing's problem is, but whenever he shows up, he's like, it looks like he has a grudge against these sailors or something. I mean, this giant whale will just wreck these ships. These sailors are no match for this thing. And I thought it would just be like, oh, just one big scene in this movie, like maybe towards the end the whale would show up. But no, there are actually several whale scenes in this movie. And even when the whale's not around, you're still interested in the movie because of the characters and the story and the build-up and the dialogue. In fact, this movie will really get in your head if you let it. There are some scenes in the movie where it gets really philosophical, you know, about God and nature and the laws of man and all that, how high you can push your human limit, survival of the fittest, all that good stuff. I thought it was pretty well done in this movie. You really feel the direness of the whole situation after the whale wrecks their shit. They're just like, yeah, we're this crew of sailors, we just got our ship pretty much blown up by this big force of nature. What do we do from here? And I won't deny that was really interesting to see. However, the movie did also have some pretty slow parts, especially around the beginning. There was some pretty good build-up in this movie, but there were also some scenes where people are talking and I just got bored. In fact, I found myself bored more than once in this movie. These scenes would drag on. I'd be like, alright, something happened already, please. I guess that's my biggest complaint about this movie though. But this movie had some top-notch acting, some really good visuals. I know a lot of the whales, when you see them, they're CGI, but there were some parts where you see like a close-up of them, like their eye, and I'm like, that could be real. The story was told really, really well. The score for this movie, though, when I heard it, I was like, I've probably never heard of this guy. The music didn't have any traits of anyone's music that I would be familiar with. And yeah, I've never heard of this composer before. But I liked it a lot. It worked really well for this movie. And this movie was directed by Ron Howard, so of course this movie has to be at least pretty good. The guy's an Oscar-winning director. There was that movie Rush that he made a couple years ago that also had Chris Hemsworth. And this movie kind of had some elements of that movie in here. You know, the banter back and forth between the first mate and the captain? Ron Howard's really good at showing that tension between two characters. So In the Heart of the Sea had a really good story, some really good visuals, great acting, but it did have some slow, boring parts kind of scattered throughout. But it's still worth seeing, so I will say, go see this movie while it's in theaters. So In the Heart of the Sea, have you seen it? What did you think about it? Whatever you think, go ahead and leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe.